What's up, gamers? Hope you're all having a wonderfully non-racist day full of great games without corpo meddling, because today we're going to be talking about a little bit of drama on the internet. Now, you may recall a little video I made last month called Why I'm Against Sweet Baby Inc. and Corporate Consultants Like Them, and I think I laid out a sequence of fair and easily understandable reasons why I don't want to support these companies. Hopefully. Maybe. But now we find ourselves in a bit of a weird situation with a game coming out recently called Tales of Kenzera ZAU. I thought this would be a very simple situation. We've known SBI had their hand in this game for a while now, so clearly the only solution would be to not buy it. But things are not always so black and white. Pun totally intended. Tales of Kenzera ZAU was first announced at the 2023 Game Awards, and among everything else that was shown at the show, this game actually appealed to me the most. Which isn't saying much considering the absolute state of mainstream games in current year. Aside from Sega's announcement that they were reviving old IPs, but the quality of those is still up in the air as of now. But then out came Mr. Abubakar Salim, hope I'm pronouncing that right, to give a very heartfelt and inspirational speech about his game and his motivation behind making its story. He wanted to make it in dedication to his late father who had passed away, with elements of the story being about dealing with that grief. He also name-dropped Golden Sun as one of his inspirations, which got me triggered to no end. Seriously, Nintendo, do something with this goddamn series! Anyway, it was a motive that really appealed to me, not gonna lie. Plus the game would have the backdrop of African Bantu folklore, which is something we do not see a lot of in any media really. And it's a metroidvania, so this could have been right up my alley. Fast forward to like February or something, and I was able to try a brief demo of the game myself, and the stutters. Holy shit, the stutters. It was not performing very well, that's for sure, and apparently this game is supposed to run on the Nintendo Switch somehow, but I could see the potential the game had. Some interesting combat mechanics, some nice looking zones, and an overall premise that was really promising. Unfortunately, there were also some other issues with the game I'll get into later. So what's the issue with this game and what's all the drama about? Well, unfortunately, Abubakar Salim, the main creator behind this game, is literally one of the quote-unquote officers of Sweet Baby Inc. Or rather, was, as he apparently resigned shortly before the game came out, which is certainly some odd timing to be honest. This is very strange to me, like I don't think an African guy making a game set in African folklore needs aid from Western corporate narrative consultants. I don't know what to think about that. Maybe the sort of SBI influence we see in games like Spider-Man 2 and Suicide Squad is likely going to be pretty much non-existent in this particular game. I would hope so, because holy shit. Like I think if you were to buy this game in spite of the drama surrounding it right now, you'll probably have a good time, minus some minor issues the game is known to have right now based on the negative reviews, a lot of which can be boiled down to skill issue. The noob! Jokes aside, there seems to be a lot more drama on Twitter about this game right now rather than actual players because the Steam version of the game only peaked at 287 players, which is not great at all. But there are more issues the game has that may have contributed to the low player count, which I'll also get into later. But let's go over the drama that really shouldn't be drama at all. Mr. Kabrutus, the mastermind behind the infamous SBI Detected Steam Curator group, put out this tweet the other day. Sup guys? Just want to remind that ZAU is gonna launch today. The game is on Sweet Baby Inc. Detected Curator page, and yeah, it is connected to Sweet Baby Inc. Remember to vote with your wallet. I hope my Kabrutus impression was accurate. Let me know if you somehow find this video, but anyway. That was all. Same thing he's been doing for every game Sweet Baby Inc. worked on, right? But apparently this particular case is wrong for some reason. Like one of the top replies with quite a lot of likes saying this.
This is the wrong game to boycott. It's a brand new IP made by a very sincere creator. Whether you are invested in his vision or not is besides the point, but there needs to be room for folks to make the sort of game they want to make regardless of content. Also, it's a good game with excellent movement and feel.
People saying things like this seem to be missing the point, clearly. For some, it's very intentional, and they're trying to paint Kabrutus as a racist for posting this in the first place. Typical dishonest race baiter scum behavior. All of you are retarded, and for some reason I've noticed quite a few PlayStation fanboys in the replies too. Probably just defending it because it was one of the PS Plus games. They wouldn't care otherwise. Anyway, also a lot of people saying they're gonna buy the game, but I don't think they're actually doing that because again, 287 peak players on Steam. There's no way to confirm the console numbers, so take it with a grain of salt whenever I bring this up, just saying. But Steam numbers can be an indicator of general interest due to having the largest install base. However, there's other replies that aren't really helping the racist allegations, such as this one.
Lmao, you could tell even if it wasn't on the list.
What do you mean by this, sir? What do you really mean? I don't want to put words in your mouth, my guy, but this is kinda sus, not gonna lie. Or this one.
That game always smelled like a DEI ESG fest. No thanks.
Did it though? Is it just because the game is set in Africa? I suppose the only thing you could argue from its first reveal is that it was pushed by the quote-unquote ESG/DEI supporting mainstream by being given a stage at the Game Awards. But we didn't get actual confirmation of SBI's involvement with the game until later on. Like, I feel some of these people actually are boycotting the game because of its African setting and characters. They're very few and far between, but these two tweets I just mentioned tend to make me doubt some of the SBI detected following's intentions. And they do have a worrying amount of likes. I don't know. Twitter is still full of bots and shit, so who knows if like counts are even accurate to begin with. And also remember, Twitter has a much higher than normal ratio of complete and utter assholes, so all these replies you see are not a good representation of what the general audience actually thinks. Most people just want to play good games and have fun, and that includes most people in the community of SBI Detected. And honestly, if you think this game will do that for you, maybe give the demo a shot and see if it's for you. And if you're a console peasant who still pays for PS Plus, you can always get it there instead. Before you buy the game, there are some other things you should know about it that I think are much more important than SBI's involvement at this point. 1. For some reason, this game's publisher is allegedly trying to use bots to try and promote the game, and it's seemingly not working very well. Remember, 287 peak users. 2. The PC version uses Denuvo, which might explain why it runs like absolute ass, alongside it being an Unreal Engine 5 game, and probably has at least some impact on the low PC player count. Surely some better optimized engines could have been used for a game like this just fine, but oh well. Last, the biggest crime that this game has committed by far, no contest, is signing on to be published by EA. Fuck that. This is the biggest reason I actually took this game off the list for my RNG series. I hate EA a lot. I don't want to promote anything they do if I can help it. Not that my reach actually matters or anything. I'm just some retard on the internet who still doesn't have 1K subscribers because fuck me, I guess. The last thing I want to do is ask you guys a couple of questions, if you've even made it this far in the video. Those of you who are not new to the channel know that I eventually want to make a top 20 Metroidvanias video, right? I want to know if you want me to cover this game at all, including returning it to my list of RNG releases, or if I should save it for another time. I think I will still want to play it eventually just to see for myself, whether that's sometime this year or sometime in the future, or whenever it becomes easily acquirable on the internet, if you know what I mean, which may be beyond when I eventually work on the top 20 video. I just really do not want to give EA money. Another game I've been holding out on is the new Prince of Persia game, which came out in January. But Ubisoft is another company I don't want to give any money, so I've been waiting for the used physical game to come down in price because $50 is really steep for this type of game. But if you guys don't care about these omissions in the final list, then neither do I guess. But for Kenzera specifically, I really hope that Salim's intentions are as sincere as it seems, and that collaborating with SBI was just a mistake on his part, because remember, he did resign before the game came out. We don't know why yet, but that's what I want to believe, but you know, it could just be a cynical ploy by the shitbags at EA to make themselves look good to the media. What a sad state of affairs we live in that I have to be wary of such a thing. He comes off as a very sincere guy from what I've seen, and just throwing it out there, if I do play through the game, I would probably like to have a chat with him about it. Probably won't happen, but you never know. But another thing that needs to be made clear, like I said in my previous video about SBI, if you choose not to buy this game, or any game, because of this company's involvement, or if you even have skepticism or questions about the integrity and quality of games this company has their hands in, you're not racist, you're not sexist, you're not a piece of shit. And you're not alone. Unless you really think an African setting with African characters is bad. Then you can fuck right off with that shit. Anyway, that's all for this video. That's probably a waste of time. Let me know what you think of this whole situation in the comments below, but just be careful you don't get auto-deleted by YouTube's filter because that happens sometimes and I have no control over it. If you don't like that, you can always check out my content on Rumble or Odyssey instead, as those platforms are a lot less restrictive. Don't forget to like if you enjoyed the video, or dislike if you're a horrible racist. Subscribe for more mid-ass content, and share it around to anyone you might think is interested in these topics. If you want to pop into any of my random streams, you can do that too. Chat's open to any topic most of the time. And I host a public Smash free-for-all arena every Monday at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern. You can also follow me on the X-Twatter, even though I never post there. Or hop in my Discord to call me a fakin' gay racist or something. Lastly, I too am working on a Steam curator of my own, which I will go into greater detail in my next RNG video, but you can check that out early if you head over to my community tab. And as always with this uncultured industry, have high standards, low expectations. You know what would be really funny? If I decide to play the game after all this drama to cover it in my top 20 Metroidvania list, only to find out that the game is not actually a Metroidvania. That would be hilarious. Utterly hilarious.